Welcome back, everyone. We have a great guest with us. We have Trevor from Unearth. How are you?
Doing well. We're in Philly today on tour.
Nice. That's awesome, dude. Well, let's get into this. You guys have been a band for 25 years and just released your eighth studio record. How is the writing different? The writing and recording different now compared to your first record, The String of Consequences?
Uh, the Stings of Conscience. We were kids. We would write the songs in our drummer's basement, and the guitar players would bring riffs to practice, and we jam on them and put the songs together that way. Around 2010, we kind of abandoned that format because our drummer at the time lived across the country. So we've been doing the same thing ever since. The guitar players come up with riffs to put them in kind of a song structure, send to the drummer, and send to all of us actually to critique the structure, and the drummer puts the drums to them. So it's written from afar. That's how we did this one as well.
Nice. And so, with that, did you come up with your lyrics after that? You hear
Yep.
what you guys hear?
So I'll hear the patterns. So I'll hear the song. I get vocal patterns, and then once we have the final structure, that's when I put pen to paper for lyrics.
Nice. And how long did that usually take for you?
It varies. Some songs can take months. Some songs I can write, within a couple hours. So it's just where my creativity is at the moment, or if something just strikes me, I can go for it faster. Sometimes it takes a long time. Because some songs I have to, I'll do research on, make sure that I'm saying the right things, and so it takes me a long time to research them and get ideas going.
Perfect. That's crazy. That's cool. Well, this is your guys' first record since 2018. When did you guys start writing this record?
Um, Buzz wrote all the rest for this record, and he did the majority of it during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
There's one song on the record that he wrote at the tail end of the last record. We were in the studio to record those songs already, and he submitted this song,
Mm-hmm.
"Dawn of the Militant." But so we didn't even really listen to it because we were already focused on the songs we had. And then I was walking my dog I don't know, about a year and a half ago, and I was going through our Dropbox of riffs and old songs that didn't get used to see if there's any gems in there. And I came across this song. Like, why didn't we pick this for the record? Uh, but I think it was just submitted so late that we didn't even listen to it. So I was listening. I'm like, damn, this song rips. So put it back in the Dropbox of current stuff we're working on, and it made the record. It turned out to be one of the strongest songs.
And with you saying that, how long ago did you guys write that record? Well, that song was that before? Because you're saying you're going through it and it's old songs and what you haven't used.
Yeah, that was written during the Extinctions album, so 2018.
And with that, would you say do you guys like rework it and add it to something different? Maybe bring a different approach.
No, this one was the music was exactly the same as it was in the demo, and then but there's no vocals to it, so I put vocals to it, and the song came to life. It's a heavy song. It's aggressive. It's thrashy. It's heavy hardcore in there, and it's just a fun one. We're actually playing that live a lot on this tour.
Makes sense. So you guys have an 11-track record. What made you guys do 11 tracks out of all of it?
We generally pick 10 or 11 songs. We like to keep it just under 40 minutes. I think
That's
that
perfect.
keeps the listener engaged. Too long of a record, you kind of get bored with it. Uh, there's two songs that we recorded for this record that uh, are just as strong as the other songs, and we just kind of voted on the songs to pick. So there's two extra songs that are killer that'll probably end up on something eventually, maybe like a 7-inch or whatever. But they're just as strong as the rest of the records. It's really hard to keep them off the album.
That makes sense. And so like how do you go about keeping it like under like 30, 35, 40 minutes? Like do you guys go, okay, this all works out here and then nah, this one taken off right there. You just
It's just the kind of the way that we write now is we try
Mhm.
to keep each song between 3 and 4 minutes, and that's what it takes. So you get 3 or 4 minutes, you get 11 songs, and you can end up between 35 and 40 minutes.
Perfect. And how'd you guys go about writing doing the track lineup of it?
We vote on it, and we take our votes into consideration. We also take the record label's vote
Mhm.
as well, and so we all kind of talk about it, which songs we feel are the strongest, and what order they should be in. Because some songs lead into other ones better. Um, and so that's how we did this one. The first track sounds like the opening of a live set, so that was a clear opener for the record. It was funny because it was the last track on the record, "Theaters of War." Uh, I originally thought that was going to be the intro to the record, but then it became clear that "Wretched the Ruinous" was the better intro.
Dang, that makes sense. The lineup's great. It flows perfect. It's I've
Awesome.
listened to it a bunch of times. It's really sick.
Oh yeah.
You guys have had a few lineups throughout the years over the 25. You and Buzz have been around since day one. Is there any lineups that worked better for certain songs or had different strengths for writing and recording and playing live?
Um, yeah, we've had a bunch of different member changes over the years. The most, uh, I guess, the biggest changes has been the drummer.
Mm-hmm.
When we lost our original drummer Mike Rudberg, he was an integral part of the band, and so that was pretty heartbreaking for us because he was our, he is our good friend. He's still our friend. He just didn't want to tour. He just wasn't cut out for the road, and he was a big part of our decisions as well. So losing him was a bummer for us. But we rebounded and found a great drummer, Mike Justin, and he was around for years. And we parted ways with him in '07. Went through a few drummers. Kurzweil was great. Nick Pierce was awesome on drums. But now we have Mike Justin back in the band, and he fits the mold of our band. He's from the same part of the state of Massachusetts we're from. He's around the same age. We have a lot of the same likes in music, and just we like to explore, the different cities around the world. And he's a hell of a performer live. So it's a lot of fun to have him on stage with us again. It just brings out that performance value, that we'd always bring to the table before.
That makes sense. And then I saw that I was reading that you had the last drummer record like most of this, and then you guys brought back the current drummer. Do you feel like he brings a different feel to what the last drummer recorded compared to what you guys are doing live?
He's mimicking what's played in the record, and he's killing it. He has his own style, of course, but the songs sound like the songs in the record.
Perfect.
He's a pro drummer.
Makes sense. So over your guys' career of Unearth, do you have a favorite record you guys put out?
Usually, my favorite record is the most recent one, and I'll
Mm-hmm.
say that now. And I realize the reason why is because you get so emotionally invested in writing the songs and recording the songs that you feel the songs. You feel them forever, but when the ones that are most fresh, those are the ones that are most impactful to you emotionally. So I do think that this record adds a lot more dynamic than any record we've had before, and vocally, I'm adding different sounds on this record, and I've been, sounds I've never added before. So I'm enjoying that aspect of it as well.
That makes sense. That like a lot of bands say that their current one, and because you invest so much time, like you said, so that makes a
Exactly.
lot of sense.
Time usually tells which one is going to be the best one, but um, yeah, right now it's the Wretched Ruinous.
Makes sense. So Neil Peart says that Rush became Rush with moving pictures. Do you have a specific record that Unearth became Unearth?
The Oncoming Storm. That was the record. It was what I've referred to it in the past. If you want to compare it to it's in a band's career, of course we're not the same level of band, sales wise, but I felt like it was our master puppets. Like we were on fire. We found our sound, and we were, the whole record is strong, and it really catapulted our career from being a band that toured full time, but you know, 4 to 6 months a year. But now when that record came out, we were gone 9, 10 months a year. We got a lot more, opportunities. Just big things were happening for us. So that record really, helped make us into a career band.
Perfect. That's fantastic. And with you, like from that record to now, do you still feel like you guys are defining your sound and making it more like where it's at now?
Yeah, man. I think we took a lot of steps forward with this record. It's more creative. There's just more flavors on the record than we've ever had before, and I attribute that to you know there's so much great heavy music out now that
Mm-hmm.
years ago, we we'd write songs based on our influences growing up, um, and then we kind of were in that zone for a long time. But music got really good again, at least for our ears around 2015. The underground bands started writing really great, aggressive, heavy music that was speaking more to us than the previous maybe 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it re inspired us to listen to new bands, and I think it's found its way to inspire us just to make different sounds in the record. So I think it's best when you're inspired to write music, and I think it's shown on this record.
And with you saying that, so was there any bands that inspired you during this record, or any singers, like, or has your influences changed a little bit at all?
I mean, I still have my favorite singers. I
Mhm.
just like a lot of what the younger bands are doing. Spirit Adrift. I mean, you can't say we sound like Spirit Adrift at all. I just like you know newer bands.
Mhm.
Fugitive, Power Trip, of course, if they ever come back. But those records were killer. Not
Yeah.
Clues, um, Creeping Death. There's so many
Mhm.
good bands out right now that it's easy to find good music and get inspired. Six Silence, the band we just took on tour, and that band is so damn good.
You guys are still one of those bands that actually tour all the time. That's what I've seen. And you guys do bring a lot of like different styles and different bands on tour, which is cool. Like to see different bands go on tour with you guys compared to it being the same thing every time someone goes on tour.
Yeah, some tours they like to have the all the same style, but the
Mhm.
way we came up is in the late '90s, early 2000s was one weekend would be do a weekend warrior trip with let's say the band Thursday, and the
Mhm.
next one would be with Earth Crisis, and the next weekend would be with Nile. So we mixed it up, and I think that's the best way. If you're a heavy band, if you want to expand your audience, play in front of different fans that are into slightly different sounding aggressive music, and then because our bands aren't on the radio, so let's reach into each other's fan base and expose them to different sounding music, and I really think that helped us at the start.
Oh yeah,
So
and it brings in more audiences too.
yeah, it totally does. And so that's what we've committed to when we headline, and we'll keep doing that.
Sounds great. That's great. Other bands did that. Um, for you being a vocalist, is there any songs that you've written that from Unearth that like still mean the most to you singing wise?
I mean, they all do. I put uh, all of me into my lyrics,
Hmm.
so I get pretty emotionally invested in them. The new record, I got pretty emotional about the record. Um, but I have songs in the past that we don't haven't played this song in a long time. The song called "This Time Was Mine," it's off a record "In the Eyes of Fire." That's a really personal song. It's about one of my uncles that passed away at a fairly young age. So it's more of a personal song for me. So that one will always mean something.
Yeah, that's great. That's just crazy because I like you said you put a lot of it into it, and then it just when you sing them live, all comes out, man.
That's emotional.
Over the years, have you felt like your vocal approach has changed at all?
Um, I'm expanding my range.
Mhm.
I've taken some lessons, and I'm staying a student of the craft. And I'm
Mhm.
just trying to get better and better. On this record, I've added some clean vocals, which I haven't really done much in the past. I'm doing deeper gutturals, higher highs. I'm just really trying to expand it. And so I practice a lot at home. I have a little studio room. And I think the thing that's really helped me the most is I play acoustic guitar and I sing. So even though I'm not really singing, I'm an aggressive vocalist. Um, but when I'm doing that, I think it's really strengthening my voice when I sing to an acoustic guitar. So it's that whole stuff. It's part of my routine, and it's helpful.
And who are you currently taking like vocal lessons from, like you said?
Um, so I don't take lessons per se. My instructor for the past like 15, actually, shit, 18 years now, has been Melissa Cross, the Zen of Screaming.
Oh yeah.
So I took a couple lessons. But I'll call her at least once every time I'm about to record a record, just to kind of check in and just talk things through with her. So I haven't taken a physical lesson from her in a very long time, but over the phone we've spoken or FaceTime and just kind of talk through things. I find it helpful.
Makes sense. She's like one of the best out there too, so
She
it
is
all makes sense.
for this style of music. She knows what she's doing very much. She's I think she really helped save my career. She taught me to not strain too much and how to warm up and warm down properly a long time ago. And I was losing my voice on tour quite a bit. And once I started talking to her, I stopped losing my voice.
And like with what she's taught you, is that how you do warm ups before you sing and record?
Yep, well, it's the same ones every time. And it's just built into what I do now, so I don't have to think about it. It's just part of my day. So I'm always I'm always humming to keep my voice warm, and after the show, I'll hum to warm down.
Mhm.
You have to stay hydrated, and before the set, I do all the warm ups and the breathing exercises. So for about an hour and a half until set time, I'm just constantly warming up and stretching out and getting the lungs going, and it's been very helpful.
It's really cool to hear for someone that's been doing this for so long that like they actually take it seriously and you're actually doing warm ups. Because I've talked to a bunch and like, no, we just go on stage and they're just like, dude, your vocals can handle that. Okay.
Some people can. We just toured with uh, we're in Europe with Misery Index, and yeah, both singers just rip it. I don't see them warming up at all, and they just go up there and they do their death metal. I'm like, yeah, you guys don't warm up at all. So it works for some people, others it doesn't.
What I've learned is I interviewed Snake from Voivod. He said the same thing. He's like, oh, I just go up there. And then I interviewed the Knox from Enforce. He's like, no, I just go on stage. I'm like, dude, well, that's how it works. But if I'm playing, I have to like warm up, you know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
uh,
everyone's different, but yeah, that's my routine.
and then you guys toured with a lot of like bands and a lot of big bands. Do you have like a dream tour for Unearth?
We've never toured with the biggest bands, the bands we grew up with. I mean, we toured with Testament, which was an amazing time. But we never got to tour with Pantera, obviously. We toured with Damage Plan, which was an absolute pleasure. Never toured with Metallica, Anthrax, Exodus. These are bands that I'd love to hit the road with. We did Mayhem Fest with Megadeth, but I'd like to do a tour with Megadeth. So
Mhm.
the bands we grew up listening to, the heroes that that really helped develop us as artists, as kids. I'd love to tour with those bands.
It'd be cool to see like something like that with like Unearth and like Megadeth and Anthrax on the same bill. That would be so different, and it probably would bring in a huger crowd too for both of you guys.
I think. I
You know?
mean, I think it would be more beneficial for us to expose ourselves to that audience, but I think that we would help any bill that we're on.
Oh
Um,
yeah, of
we have a very
course.
loyal fan base, and we're very very happy that everyone's kept us around for now 25 years, and we couldn't be more thankful.
For you guys, for playing live, is there any songs that still hit the same that like as you did the first time you sang them live?
So the song that's never left the set is a song called "This Lying World." It was never a single, but
Mhm.
it's a fan favorite. And the intro of that song, we can play at fest where we're not well known or to an audience that doesn't know us all that well, and that song hits hard every time. It's just the way that it was written. The intro is kind of slow build, but it's heavy from the start, and that one has never left the set. It's such a strong one.
That makes sense. And then for a band that's been around for 25 years with 8 like records, how do you guys go about doing a set list?
It's not that difficult on a headlining tour.
Mhm.
Basically, I find that as we keep on going, our set length is getting longer because there's certain songs we just can't cut.
Mhm.
But for let's say for this tour, because we just got off a 2.5 week headlining tour, it was a 16 song set. I think most nights.
Damn.
This tour is only 8 songs because we're supporting right now. This is day 3. We're supporting the Halo Effect, and it's only 40 minutes, so it's really difficult to pick the set. You have to have like the biggest songs, but we're also supporting the new records. We have to play
Mhm.
songs off that, so it's been challenging, and I'm sure we'll mix it up each night a little bit to try to find that sweet spot.
And you'll find which one. Yeah, like you said, you're gonna find your sweet spot. With you guys doing a lot of tours, do you guys have any tour rituals?
Tour rituals? Yeah, we're pretty much set in our ways now. We can get to the venue, we load in right away as
Mhm.
soon as we get there, and once everything is just kind of all set up and done, we all go out. We find a pub that has good, craft beer. Usually, we look for good beer, and usually when a place has good beer, they'll have at least pretty decent food, and so
Mhm.
then we just crush dinner and some drinks, and we go back to the venue and watch some of the bands playing, and then we warm up and play. And for many years as well, before we play, about an hour before we put on music called the Power Hour, and we just put on some jams and take some shots of used to be whiskey, now it's tequila, and we go with Don Julio Silver, and it gets us fired up. Listen to music and take a couple shots and stretching out, warming up.
Damn, that makes sense. That actually sounds really cool, dude.
It's fun.
Um, and then so with you guys touring all the time, do you have any crazy things on your guys' tour riders?
No, we don't make anything silly, but we keep it just pretty simple. We're just looking for hydration, water and Gatorade, and then like I said, the tequila. Mike, a drummer, likes vodka. Looking for craft beer, then a light beer like a Miller Lite or something. And if there's budget, we'll ask for some healthy food, some snacks like wheat thins and hummus, and and the rest of the buyouts. Go get dinner.
I
Pretty simple.
laugh because every band says they put hummus on their rider. It's that or like the like a couture like the cheese board. They like
Right,
that
charcuterie boards.
situation. That yeah, every band. I'm just like, okay.
That's a big effort to put together a charcuterie board. No, but hummus it stays fresh out of the fridge for a while. And then you can dip some vegetables in it or some wheat thins, like I said, and it's a wonderful snack.
And so that's your guys' current tour rider. Has that always been like that, or did you guys, when you were touring and got riders, decided to be silly back then?
We, you know what? I'm pretty sure we asked for some silly stuff a long time ago, but I can't remember what it was. But the booze rider and the food rider was a lot bigger in years past. But it's all a budget, so bands get a budget uh, per show for these things. So now we just prefer to take less stuff for the backstage and
Mhm.
more money to go out to dinner with.
Oh, that
So
makes sense.
that's just what we've kind of settled in with. But years ago, we would get way too much booze, and I can't believe how much we would put down. But we're in our 20s, so it made sense. But we would get 2 handles of Jim Beam. We would get 3 cases of Miller Lite, and we would finish these things every day. It wasn't just the 5 of us; we had our crew would help as well.
Yeah.
We'd have maybe guests that would help. It was an obscene amount of alcohol would get consumed every day, and I can't believe that we. I mean, I know we did it, but I can't believe that we did it. And we're still pretty healthy, knock on wood.
Dang, that sounds intense, man. And then, so what are your guys' eating habits on tour? You said you guys like to go out to dinner, but during the whole process of like being on the road.
Um, so morning usually we'll stop somewhere to get if the hotel doesn't have breakfast, which most times they might. So usually it's breakfast. Then we'll drive as much as we can. I'm talking about a van tour, so it varies when you're on a bus. We'll stop at a truck stop. Usually there's some food there, or if we have some more time, we'll stop off at a you know. We don't do the fast food anymore. We used to have our big three. We'll stop in a pinch now on a long drive, like Taco Bell, Wendy's, and Subway were the ones. Um, but we deemed decent enough to stop at quick. But now we'll do like Chipotle. It's a little faster, not quite as bad for you. Um, but we try to eat healthy on the road. So even when we go out to dinner, we're not getting sloppy food. We're trying to stay healthy. We're getting a little older. We gotta be a little more health conscious.
That makes a lot of sense. And then for you guys, how do you guys still prepare for tour the same way?
Yeah. We just get ready, get all the business stuff lined up, and try to exercise a bit, keep your body healthy, and make sure you're fit for the tour. And all the same, just pack up a few days before, sometimes the night before. Just it's all pretty second nature to us now.
So do you guys do any rehearsing, or like you said, it's second nature? You guys don't.
Um, yeah. So now we can rehearse because Mike Justin lives in Massachusetts, so we can rehearse with him. When we had Nick Pierce in drums, he lived in Seattle, so it's 3,000 miles away. We couldn't really rehearse unless we had a long layoff.
Mhm.
Then we'd fly him in and we'd rehearse for a day or two. Um, but we were practiced enough that there wasn't enough time left between tours where we could just hit the ground running when we were on tour.
Makes sense. And then like you've been touring for like 25 years or so. Do you have a favorite city or country or any favorite place to play?
I really enjoy touring the world. It's a big reason why I continue to do this. Besides the music and of course the fans, I really love traveling. I've basically like everywhere I go. Uh, I've had many favorites over the years, but I'd say that the one that's been my continued favorite is Japan. I really like Tokyo. That's such a unique city, and the people there, the fans there, just the culture there in general is wonderful. And I could tour there every single year if they'd have us.
Makes sense. I've heard that from a lot of people that there it's the nicest place and the fans are great. So that makes a lot of sense
Yeah,
to
we just
want to.
shot our video for the first song on the record, the title track. We did that in January. It was our first time in 8 years back to Japan, and both shows were sold out. It was such a great time.
And with you saying that you filmed it in Japan and that was your first time back, did you guys just know you wanted to record it there, or did you just land like that?
It kind of just happened. So social media wanted the video to be delivered by a certain date,
Mm-hmm.
and this was right around the holidays. It's in December. We couldn't find anyone that was willing to commit to the timeline locally, um, to shoot a video because of the holidays, you know. And so I was thinking about it. I'm like, well, play in Japan. I know the shows are selling well. So I reached out to the promoter, who we've known for a long time. He's actually used to run the label Howling Bull that put out our records there years ago. Um, and he asked around. He found a guy that would would shoot the show, I think on the 16th or 17th, and deliver it 3 or 4 days later. Like
Damn.
a really tight timeline. But it was mostly a live show. He filmed some candid footage as well,
Mhm.
but he got it done. And it's a killer video. He really captured the energy of the show and in the trip.
I saw that video. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, with you guys touring like as much, has anything crazy happened on this tour so far?
Nothing too crazy. Uh, it's been pretty standard. Same routine every day. We have fun. We also try to be responsible to not go overboard in a van. Um, so we've had some fun nights. The most fun night we had was we had a day off between Sacramento and Portland, Oregon,
Mhm.
and we ended up taking it at like a cabin in the woods by the river. It was beautiful. We cooked from
Yeah.
the grill. We had some drinks and with some music and had a good time. There's a hot tub there too. That was a pretty nice day off. Airbnb is such a killer thing, you know.
It must be nice, like compared to like earlier on when you were touring, compared to now, you can just do an Airbnb like right then and there.
Well, when we first started, we didn't have any money, so we would sleep
Yeah.
on the floors or the van, and then it was hotels usually. But Airbnb, when you have a big group of people, like we have eight
Mhm.
people, everyone wants a bed, then that's four hotel rooms. That adds up.
Yeah.
Airbnbs are generally cheaper than that sleep eight. So um, financially, it's cool, but also it it brings camaraderie because you're in
Mhm.
the same house together, and you can put on a movie or you can watch YouTube videos of bands live shows or just videos or listen to tunes. Or sometimes, like I said, there's a hot tub.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool to have this available to book.
Makes sense. That sounds like a really cool like day off for sure.
It is.
Um, so with you guys touring for over 2 decades, is there anything that you still learned while going on tour?
Yeah, I still learn. I'm sure. I'm sure I'm learning stuff. It's that I couldn't tell you exactly what I'm learning. It's just I'm having a good time.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I mean, I've always tried to have a good time. Um, maybe I'm just learning to be more efficient with my time during the day. I'm trying to stay on top of our socials. Uh, trying to just be as ready and as fit for the gigs as possible, and just trying to make the most of it.
Makes a lot of sense. I mean, that's still learning stuff. My next question is going to be, so you guys been around since 1998. With the industry changing so much, how have you learned to adapt?
Um, you just have to be persistent and stay on top of it. So the main thing is that social media became a thing with Twitter and when like first MySpace and then it was Twitter and Facebook. All these different mediums are coming up, and it's always changing. There's always a new one you have to pay attention to, and so it's been interesting to learn along the way. And each of them is different. TikTok, you have to be different than you are on Instagram. It's just so keeping up with that part of it is definitely different. Is something that is an added layer to being in a touring band or a professional band. But if you want to stay relevant, you have to do it. So it's something that we focused on.
Yeah, a lot of bands have a hard time adapting to the whole TikTok thing, which with you guys touring so much, you shouldn't have a big problem because you guys could do silly things on the road, you know?
Good, but it's also you have to be of that mindset to do it. And uh, none of us are willing to take out our cameras and shoot stuff. So if we have someone with us, it's a lot easier. But then you're talking about adding another body in the van, and
Yeah.
it's it's just something that we have to commit to. And we had a guy with us that was doing videos and pics for the headlining portion of this tour, but
Mm.
he was in the 156 Silence fan. Like he was their guy, but he was awesome. His name is Stone, and he was killer. But you know, we've had people in the past ride with us, and uh, we'll have it again.
Yeah, it makes sense. And then for someone listening to Unearth for the first time, what album or songs would you recommend them to listen to?
The new one, Wretched the Ruinous, in full.
Yeah, that's a great record. For me, like I I've listened to Unearth on and off like since my whole life, and this record might be my favorite record so far of this year. I'm not gonna lie to you, and I'm not just kissing your ass here.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Like I usually don't tell people that, but this might be my favorite record because I've listened to it like 4 times since before this interview.
Awesome. Thank you.
um, here's another question. So you've been in the industry for 25 years. What would you tell your younger self?
Um, I just enjoy the ride. I mean, I have. Uh, I would tell myself to not party as hard as we did. You know, definitely hurt my body a little bit with everything we consumed back then, but we came out the other end okay. You know, so it's. I think it's just part. I think that was just part of the process. You're in a band, you having success, you're touring a lot, and that's how we were coping with being on the road, and we had a great time. But I'm glad that we we still party, just not the same. So I'm glad we're more responsible about it now.
Makes sense. I mean, as you get older, of course, you start slowly. Because, dude, those hangovers do not feel good the next day after
No, man,
30.
I try to limit those, you know, and it's they truly suck,
They
and
do
they're
truly
a lot
suck.
easier to handle when you're in your 20s. You know, it's yeah.
Makes sense. So you guys just released a record. You guys are currently on tour. What else can we expect from you guys in 2023, 2024?
We're gonna be hitting the road hard. So right after this tour, we have 2 weeks off, and we go to Europe, and then we're there for 2.5, 3 weeks. Then we come home for 2 days, and we fly to Texas to do 4 co-headlining shows with Bleeding Through. And I know we're working on other stuff towards the end of the summer into the fall and winter for more touring. So we'll be on the road quite a bit.
Perfect. And then where could everyone buy this amazing record and keep up with Unearth?
If you want a hard copy, you can go to Central Media's website, centralmediarecords.com, I believe. But also, everything's available on our website, and that's unearthofficial.com. And all of our socials are the same. They're all at Unearth Official. So everything that we have is Unearth Official, and you can stream it. Um, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Spotify, Tidal. It's on all the platforms. So you can stream it, listen to it, YouTube, everywhere. But you know, the hard copies, if you want to buy it from us, it's unearthofficial.com.
Perfect. That's good to know. And I'd like to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're gonna end the show. See you guys next interview.